There are some remarkable mask-off moments from the broad left-wing movement that is currently ravaging our civilization. On the 25th of August 2020, during the left-wing riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin that followed the justified police shooting of Jacob Blake, a young man called Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked in the street by a mob of Antifa thugs who are causing havoc. After an unknown member of the mob fired a handgun into the air, the first attacker, Joseph Rosenbaum, emerged from his hiding place and directly charged at Rittenhouse in an attempt to take his gun, after previously threatening to kill him. Rittenhouse shot the man dead and then ran off, while the mob turned on him. They chased him down in the street and continued to attack him, knocking him to the ground. Once on the ground, the members of the mob charged in from all angles to beat him. Rittenhouse at this point began opening fire on his assailants. Another rioter, Anthony Huber, smacked Rittenhouse over the head with his skateboard and tried to wrestle the gun from Rittenhouse's grasp. Rittenhouse shot him dead. While the other attackers began fleeing as Rittenhouse was now defending himself from their attacks, another rioter called Gage Grosskreutz, who is himself a communist, approached Rittenhouse with a pistol with the obvious intent to attack. Rittenhouse shot Grosskreutz in the arm and blew off his bicep before Grosskreutz could shoot him. So let's summarize what we know so far. Kyle Rittenhouse did not have a criminal record. He was not rioting, he was not looting, he was not vandalizing or committing arson. He was not attacking anyone or instigating violence. A mob of armed communists were rioting, looting, vandalizing, and attacking people on the street. The mob chased Rittenhouse, clearly with the intent to do him harm, and Rittenhouse clearly defended himself, with great apparent restraint as well, only shooting those people who were directly attacking him and not shooting any bystanders. The people Rittenhouse shot were the absolute scum of the earth. Grosskreutz had a criminal record due to his apparent alcohol problem and is also a member of a communist organization called the People's Revolution. Huber was a psychopath who had repeatedly assaulted his own family members and threatened to murder them, and Rosenbaum was an insane paedophile with convictions for brutally raping 5 children. They were literally as bad as it gets. These criminals attacked Kyle while he was trying to escape, and they prevented him from escaping and began beating him until he defended himself. It doesn't matter what the result of Rittenhouse's trial is, because the video evidence is crystal clear. The armed communist mob was attacking Rittenhouse. They clearly intended to kill him, and he wouldn't be the first victim of armed communists in America either. Google Daniel Aronson to learn about the Trump supporter who was gunned down by a communist in Portland. If, when attacked by these vile excuses for human beings, you are not entitled to self-defense, then when exactly are you? And that is the question being answered by the left-wing movement in America at the moment, and their answer isn't exactly encouraging. The media in the US have been doing everything they can to misinform people about the events of that night. The general left-wing narrative about the Rittenhouse case is that Rittenhouse was the aggressor, some kind of active shooter who was mercilessly gunning down innocent civilians in the street. The footage of the event, which I'm not going to play here for community guideline reasons, is readily available all over the internet. It's crystal clear what happened in the moment, and absolutely stark in how easy it is to see who is attacking whom. However, if you hadn't watched the footage, like Young Turks host Anna Kasparian clearly hadn't, you would be easily misled into believing this false narrative and be forced to issue your own humiliating retraction because you had been so deliberately misinformed.
I was wrong about that. Okay, so I want to correct the record. I was, in fact, wrong about that.
In addition to the misleading framing by the media, partisan Democrat pages such as Occupy Democrats and The Other 98%, who have 10 million and 6 million followers respectively, have told incandescent lies about Rittenhouse, comparing him to Charles Manson and demanding that his depraved mother go to jail for facilitating murder, while Ben & Jerry's, the ice cream manufacturer, have decided to chime in to call the trial racist. This is all unreal. They just don't care about truth. You can watch the video anytime you like. It didn't go down like they're saying it did. Moreover, they want you to go to jail for defending yourself. If you aren't entitled to your natural right to self-defense when being attacked by an armed mob of communist rioters, when are you entitled to it and against whom? Why is anyone even speaking in their defense? Why is Don Lemon crying about the deaths of a pair of psychopaths, and a psychopath who had the temerity to claim that, quote, "I was never trying to kill the defendant. In that moment, I was trying to preserve my own life. But doing so while taking the life of another is not something I am capable or comfortable doing." Grosskreutz is literally claiming he's a pacifist who would never kill someone. Excuse me if I don't take that chance, Mr. Alcoholic Communist with a gun in the middle of a riot in the middle of the night. Grosskreutz, he had admitted he had advanced on Rittenhouse with a gun. The previous attacks Rittenhouse had received had been very violent. Why should he expect the one holding the pistol to be any different? I think Grosskreutz is a psychopathic liar, and I would definitely have done the same in Rittenhouse's position because I think Grosskreutz was planning to kill Rittenhouse. My judgment is that they are all a bunch of attempted murderers, and the left is now sobbing crocodile tears because instead the tables turned and these villains got clapped. Radical partisans like Don Lemon are defending their position because these rioters are his foot soldiers. They are actually taking marching orders from the media. It triggers and justifies their behaviour. They hear a false report that is framed in such a way to imply a certain event is particularly, extraordinarily unjust, and this confirms their existing beliefs that the entire system is always unjust, and they use this belief to give license to their own political violence. This is being covered for by left-leaning corporate media because the activists in the media are literally using it to destroy and demoralize the right. The gloves are off. It's clear as day. The cutting edge of these media campaigns only goes one way. Think about the reasons that you, the person watching this video, hate anyone. Are they reasons that directly affect anything in your personal life? Most likely they are. But most people involved in this orchestrated violence have never interacted with the people that, through the prism of ideology and the sewage pipe of mainstream reporting, are presented to them by the media. The only reason you know of a particular controversial person is because of media attention, and the media knows this too. And so they use this ability as a spotlight to drive your rage forwards to fuel a political narrative against their opposition, and it's an incredibly effective strategy. It is allowing them to advance towards their goals, and the ratchet only ever goes one way. We are dealing with a media class of tactical flatterers, where only right-wing targets are left in any real doubt, and conversely, left-wing celebrities have uncontradicted praise and forgiveness heaped upon them. This class of flatterers has withdrawn the courtesy from the right that they still extend to the left, and they're doing it for very divisive moral reasons. This is what is meant by a culture war. The decisions that are in any way negative are not made for left-wingers, and mistakes are hastily rectified. Novara Media's accidental deplatforming is a great example. Their channel was taken down for no reason given. They create a stink on Twitter and the Team YouTube Twitter account responds promptly, and their channel is restored within an hour, and a week later Novara Media go on to promote eco-terrorism without being penalised. However, YouTube has deleted so many content creators from its platform because of alleged thoughts or opinions that they hold that are not terroristic and are not inciting to violence, but do contradict the agenda of left-wing activism. The entire point of this is to demoralize and demean the right. They want to remove, deny, and prevent people who might be opposed to left-wing policies from being active in public, even in their own self-defense. One commentator from trash commentary show The View had even the temerity to spell it out.
If he is convicted of this, he now becomes a right-wing martyr. If he is freed, it's a message to others like him that prison won't be in their future.
Did you hear that? Think about what that means. If he's freed, then it's like a message to others like him that prison won't be in their future. If you're attacked by a mob of rioting communists and you defend yourself, she's afraid you won't be punished for that. This is how things should be. You shouldn't be punished for defending yourself against people who are attacking you, least of all a mob of radicals who are whipped up by false media reports. This is a part of a coordinated effort to remove your right to self-defense. Why do you think the same people who don't want you to defend yourself from the mob also want to ban guns in the United States? They can't put you under the despotism of an anarcho-tyranny without depriving you of your ability to defend yourself, and they know it. Moreover, What they want for you is to lose the will to defend yourself and your property. They want you to think in advance that the legal system will be stacked against you, that the media will be stacked against you, that anything you rightfully do to defend yourself will be made illegal, and the people who are doing this to you are in the right when they are anything but. The entire left-wing movement is lying in order to take your rights away. They're trying to turn villains into heroes, and if you aren't on board with this agenda, you will receive the same treatment as Kyle Rittenhouse. Be aware or be next.